Welcome to the Rockabye Revenue Podcast with me, Abby Watson. I'm a mum of 4 and a business strategist, and I train people to become hypnobirthing teachers. In the last decade, I've built a thriving baby business that grew beyond my wildest dreams. This podcast is for you if you run a business or dream of running a business in the birth and baby industry. You want to change lives whilst making more money. I'm talking about creating sustainable income whilst being present for the people that matter most. I believe for our baby businesses to have the impact we desire, we must be rewarded. On this podcast, expect me to share actionable strategies without the jargon. I've been where you are. I've built a business while raising 4 little ones, and now I'm here to help you turn your passion into profit while creating the life you've always dreamed of. So let's get started. Hello! Welcome to another episode of Rockabye Revenue, and we are here to talk about the C word. Not the C word you're thinking. We're talking about competition, okay? Now, wherever you are in this business journey, this episode will absolutely apply to you, and I am sure you have had thoughts about the competition. What am I talking about by the competition? It's not like the competition. What I'm talking about is other people running similar businesses to you or the business that you hope to have. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Now, if you are just starting out or thinking of starting out, you might think, oh my gosh, there are so many other people doing this. Why should I do this? There's not going to be enough clients. They're so great. How am I possibly going to compare? Or you might have been doing this a while and you might be like, oh no, not another competitor. Someone else is setting up, another person. How is my business going to possibly survive with all this competition? So I'm here to talk about this today. And please know that I am totally not immune from those feelings. I don't think anyone is, and as much as we can have a real great mindset on this, there will absolutely be times where you do think about the competition. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the reality of this and actually how we can deal with those feelings so that they don't actually impact our businesses negatively, and how actually we can make the fact that there is competition a real positive and actually help it make our businesses even better. So I want to take you back 6 years when I was sat, no, it wasn't 6, it was 5 years, when I was sat in the car park about to go into baby sensory with my 4th baby, Betsy. And I was sat in the car park, she was asleep, there was 10 minutes to go, so what did I do? I had a little scroll, and I was scrolling through social media, and there I saw it. I saw another hypnobirthing teacher setting up in my area. I'd not seen her before. She was new on the scene. She had amazing graphics and a blooming great business name. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's it for me. That's it for me. My business is doomed because there is another person doing what I'm doing, and they seem to be so great at it. Their business looks incredible. And immediately I went down this whole rabbit hole of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm doomed. Have you been there? I know so many of us have times like this, and I wanted to share that story to say it's pretty common, it's pretty common to totally go into catastrophizing mode because we see another person on the scene. Now, what was the reality of this situation? Well, the reality was there was another person offering hypnobirthing courses in my local area. Did it steal all my clients? No. Did it have a negative impact on my business? Again, no. Because to tell you what, there are lots and lots of people having babies, you know? And there are lots of people looking for services like ours, and so many different people are going to be attracted to different types of services. So of course it didn't have a negative impact on my business. Okay. Now, if I could go back 5 years when I saw this other business pop up, how would I approach it differently? Well, firstly, I wouldn't have clicked follow on their business, you know? Now, I'm not saying never look at the competition. What I am saying is I wouldn't advise that you click the follow button, because if you do, you are far more likely to have this other business pop up on your social media feed at times you're not expecting it. So at 11 o'clock at night when you're scrolling through social media, it pop up. When you sat, you know, I don't know, waiting for an appointment and you're already feeling nervous and it pops up. Times where you haven't got the bandwidth to deal with the emotions it may come with, and actually you get it all out of context because you are feeling not in a good place. So if you don't follow the business, you are less likely to have it pop up as frequently, interfering with your mindset and interfering with how you feel. Okay. Now, I'm not saying never look at it. Actually, I think it'd be almost a bit of a missed opportunity to not look at the competition, and I'm going to talk about that a bit later on and how we can use that to enhance our own businesses. Okay, but firstly, let's deal with these tricky thoughts that come up when we see other people doing similar things to us. I want to take you back even more years, and I want to take you back to when I first trained as a hypnobirthing teacher a decade ago. And I lived in an area at the time where there were no other hypnobirthing teachers. And I thought, well, hey, you know, this is going to mean that I get all the clients. I'll get tons of clients because there's nobody else offering this. Okay. Now, in the short term, that was not the case at all. In the short term, in actual fact, the vast majority of my clients came from Leeds, which was about a 20-mile journey from where I was currently living. Now, why were they coming from Leeds? Well, because in Leeds, there were lots of other hypnobirthing teachers. So what that meant was there was also a greater awareness of services like that, you know? So in actual fact, the fact that there were lots of similar businesses had a positive effect. It actually meant that hypnobirthing was more known, it was more normalised. People were telling people about hypnobirthing, where in my area where it wasn't normalised, people weren't searching, and I had to build that awareness myself. Why am I telling you this story? Well, another person coming onto the scene, you know, talking about your service, not particularly yours, but the type of service you offer, it makes people more like, oh, what's this? Oh, maybe I need to use a service like that. Again, it improves the demand for all the services that are similar in the area. So it can have this positive effect. So when we're going into this, you know, like doom place of being like, oh my gosh, more people offering the same thing, the market's going to be saturated, remembering that actually one of the benefits can be that it's not the case that actually it decreases demand. Actually, it increases awareness. More people are out there looking, and when people start looking, they do look at many businesses. We don't just go to the first one we hear about often, do we? We look at what else is out there. So in a way, it can absolutely mean that there can be more eyes on your business too. Also, we need to remember this. Somebody offering a similar thing to you is not the competition, really. You know? They're not the thing that you are competing against. Because actually, for many of us working in these industries, the thing that's really getting in the way of people doing our services, our classes, whatever they are the naysayers, you know? The people saying, oh, you don't need to bother with hypnobirthing, just show up on the day. Oh, why would you bother doing a baby class? You know? Just go to play gym, you know? Those are our real competition. The real people who threaten our businesses. Actually, the people that are also banging the drum for the things we are banging the drum for are our allies, you know? The wonderful people that are just as passionate about it as us. And in actual fact, that person doing the same thing as you might actually become your business buddy, you know? And there will be times where your services are not suitable for someone who inquires. Maybe you're not running a class at the right time, or maybe actually you don't think you'd be a good fit, and you might send them to that person, and likewise they might you. So in actual fact, that person may be a wonderful ally and you support each other's businesses. Now let's go to what I was talking about earlier, how these other people offering similar things to you can be used to propel your businesses. Okay. Once upon a time, I was someone who said, never look at the competition. And I said that from a really good place. I said that from a place of, if we look at the competition, sometimes we're looking and it makes us think, oh, they're like this and I'm not. You know, it's so easy to see like all the good things about someone else and not see it in us. So I used to say, don't look at the competition, because I knew from a personal perspective, as well as the people that I've worked with, that it can have a negative impact on our mindset. Okay. Now, when I used to dish out that advice, I'd not really thought about the strategy implications of that and how actually we can look at the competition but strategically, meaning we use it to make a great plan for our business. So whilst I don't say, you know, go follow all the competition, no, you know, do not do that. I will say, do look at the competition with intention. So take some time to look at what the competition is doing, because actually we can learn a lot from that. So how should we be looking at the competition? Well, we can look at the types of services that they are offering, and we can think, how can I use what I know about what they're offering to up my game? You know? So instead of thinking, oh gosh, look how beautiful their classes are, mine are not like that, thinking, is that what my clients would want? And if the answer is yes, using that information to think, okay, how can I make my classes look and feel even better? So look at their messaging in their business. How are they talking about their services? And in actual fact, you might think, okay, so they're very much going down the route of, let's take a hypnobirthing teacher, for example, promoting natural births. And it might make you think, oh, well, actually, my ethos is very much hypnobirthing for all births. And then, because there's this competitor now on the scene, you think, okay, I want to make that super clear in my marketing. Not by mentioning this competitor and what they're not doing, but by upping your game. By thinking, okay, well, I know my classes are all about that. I know that's what my clients say about my classes, but how clear am I making that for potential clients so that I'm really standing out to those people that my services are right for? Have you been thinking about becoming a hypnobirthing teacher? Perhaps you've always longed for a career making a difference and working more flexibly. Or maybe you're already a baby business owner and you thought about expanding your offerings so that you can work with women prenatally too. Come over to my Instagram, loveyourbirth_training, and DM me quiz, and I will send you my quiz to see if teaching hypnobirthing is for you. Next, you might look at when they're actually offering their services. So you might see that they offer their services on a certain day at a certain time. And you might think, okay, well, that's very different from when I offer mine. So actually, are we in competition? Because in actual fact, some clients will be able to do then and some clients will be able to do then. And actually, if you see that they're very similar, it could make you think, what is the opportunity here? What opportunities are here for me to do something different in this area that is currently not offered? So when we're looking at the competition in this way, rather than just passively absorbing any of the marketing, actually we're using it to inform our next steps in our businesses. Okay. And it also reminds you that what you offer is always going to be different. And I tell you why what you offer is always going to be different. And I tell you why what you offer is always going to be different. Because you are you and they are them. And even in a business that is already quite niche, the thing that will make it more niche is you, your personality, what you bring to your services, how you build that connection with your client. They can't get that from someone else. And that has been the biggest lesson I've had in my business over the last decade. People will say, I did the course because of Abby, I felt at ease because of Abby. People will absolutely say that about you too. So when you're looking at that other person and you're looking how shiny and wonderful your business is, do not forget the wonderful qualities that you offer that are beyond the graphics and the resources, that are your personality, your ability to build relationships with the right clients, and that actually there are many clients that maybe wouldn't be attracted to your services. And isn't it brilliant that somebody else has set up a business that they might be attracted to? And that means you've got more space for more of the right clients. Sometimes it's great to have a reminder of just how many potential clients there are out there. For me, when I ran my hypnobirthing business, teaching in probably like a 25-mile radius of my home, I used to remind myself regularly how many people were having babies in that area. I'd look at social media statistics from the different maternity trusts, and I'd work with women from a vast amount of different maternity trusts: Leeds, Bradford, Mid Yorkshire, all sorts of maternity trusts, and I would see just how many babies were born each month in those areas. And that would be my reminder that there are more than enough around, more than enough potential clients out there. And perhaps I'm only wanting 5 of those a month, you know? So always remind yourself that there are many, many potential clients out there. And even if there is a competitor that comes along that seems brilliant, they're not going to be you. There's more clients than enough to go around. There's something good about a bit of healthy competition. It pushes you to be even better than you've been before. Have a lovely day, lovely one, and I will see you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to Rockabye Revenue. I hope this episode has left you with some fresh ideas and bundles of motivation. If you enjoyed this episode, do make sure you click subscribe so you never miss an installment. And if you found this episode useful, I'd love you forever if you leave a 5-star review, helping this podcast reach the ears of more of the helpers in this world. And remember, keep changing lives. See you next time.